Hi, this is Jason Huval, broker for Central Metro Realty, and today I'm going to talk about the registration agreement between broker and owner. There is another form here that you can use. I have another video actually if you'd like to look, but it's the registration agreement between brokers. That is a broker-to-broker deal and a separate form. If you have this form I see this most commonly used on FSBO, for sale by owner deals. It can also be like a for lease by owner deal. You're driving through a neighborhood, you have a list of properties to look at with your client, and they see a sign in the yard and said, what about that one? And it's not on the MLS system because it's just got a sign stuck out on the yard, and you want to be able to sell it to them, and you want to get paid while doing it from the owner. This is the agreement you would use. And so this isn't a listing agreement. You're not going to represent the owner of the property, but you are getting paid. And so that is really the intent and the most common use, at least at our firm, that I see for this form. And so I'm going to dive right into it. The top section here, this is the parties to it. This would be your owner of the property, the seller, and the broker is your firm's information. The property, again, that's pretty straightforward, asking price. And this isn't a negotiation on the contract for the lease or this is just the asking price from the owner. The registration, the broker registers. This is where you're going to put your Susie buyer or Johnny tenant or whoever it is that you're working with, your client or customer, goes right here. You're registering that person or people or group or LLC, whoever it is, with the owner. The term, number 5 here, the agreement begins on the date that you're signing this thing right away and ends on, and I usually, here you want to give yourself as much time as possible. I recommend at least 90 days. But sales don't happen, sales don't close, some things get pushed back. So, don't consider 90 days minimum. If you can get a year out of it, use it, go for a year. The same thing on the lease side of it. You may have a tenant that needs to move in a week, and you think, oh, a week's plenty of time. Give yourself more time than that, at least, a couple months. 90 days is kind of my standard for most things like this in, this kind of time period. When I have this kind of time period, I usually shoot for 90 days. Broker's fee. Owner is not obligated to pay broker a fee until such time as broker's fee is earned and payable. Broker's fee are earned when owner enters into a binding agreement to sell or lease part of the property to any price, at any price. Again, so that's what I wanted to say up here. It doesn't matter. This is the asking price of the owner. You're not negotiating the contract here. This is just, they may be asking $1 million, but the house is worth 200,000. So that's not obligating you to sell it for $1 million, get your commission. That's why I wanted to point that out. But so where was I? Broker's fee are payable in amounts stated below at specified times. And so let's talk about sales first. If owner agrees to sell all or part of the property to the prospect at any price on or before the date of this agreement ends, the owner will pay a broker a fee equal to, and this if you're going to use a percentage, or B, if you have a flat fee or some other, I don't know, maybe they could give you a car or something, I guess. But no, typically you have a percentage or some kind of flat fee. The fee is payable either during the term of this agreement or after its termination at the earlier of the closing and funding of the sale or exchange of the property, or owner's breach of this agreement, or owner's breach of a binding contract to sell the property to prospect. I kind of made a joke about that. I actually did get a car in a deal one time. I had a FSBO that I knocked on the door, and I was trying to get the business, and I ended up, he said, well, if you sell this house, I had a buyer for it. He said, if you sell it to me, you can have it. It was a Bronco that was there. It was so cool that I got a car out of the deal. It wasn't I didn't use this form for that though. But in any event, there's a lease for leases, same thing. If owner agrees to lease all or part of the property, similar deal here. We have a percentage of the rents to be paid or some, flat fee. The fee is payable during the term of this the fee is payable during the term of this agreement or after its termination in one payment upon, and that could be the beginning of the lease, the execution of the lease, 30 days after move-in, whatever terms you have here, or B, in 2 payments as follows: one half of the fee at the time the lease is executed, the remainder on the date the lease commences. And then 3, kind of a free for all there. Whatever terms that you guys agree to pay, in that blank. Renewals. If prospect leases all or part of the property and subsequently extends, renews, or expands the lease, including new leases for more or less or different space in the same building or complex, owner will pay broker at the time the extension, renewal, or expansion commences a fee equal to, and then that's where you put here, a percentage or a flat fee. Owners don't like this renewal. I mean, that's really a negotiation item, a negotiated item. I get a lot of pushback. I guess I have in the past from owners wanting to pay me a renewal fee, but this is where you'd put it. Subsequent sale to a tenant. And this is one of my favorite things for a lease, using this for for lease by owner. I want to make sure that owner knows if I bring somebody to this property to lease and they end up purchasing the property down the road from this owner, I'm gonna get paid for that. And that's what this section does. And that's where you negotiate your commission right here. Notice if property is commercial property under Chapter 62, Property Code, broker is entitled to claim a lien against property to secure payment of an earned commission. There is a commercial version of this form. I just wanted to point that out. I am using, talking about 2401 TXR version. There is a commercial registration agreement as well. So I don't know what, and this is the updated version as of the time of this. You can see on my calendar here, it's April 19, 22. This is the most recent version, but just know there is a separate commercial one. It's pretty much the same, very similar. I'm not going to cover that here, but this was designed, I believe the intent of this form was for residential transactions. Just a quick note. Broker's representation. So owner acknowledges receipt of the attached information about broker services, which is incorporated into this agreement for all purposes. During negotiations for the sale or lease of the property, broker will represent the owner only, will represent the prospect only, will act as an intermediary between owner and prospect. I have something to say about this section. If you're going to represent the owner on a sale, I would say use a listing agreement and typically put it on the MLS to get top dollar. Otherwise, you may be shorting. The owner may come out short. They could get more money. Our MLS system offers the market to dictate what the price of the home is worth. Sometimes you have an owner that wants to get out quickly. That's why they may use like an iBuyer or somebody that, makes them an offer. They think it's great. They take it and they run. But the open market, to me, is the best place to find out what the true value of something is, and get to maximize what you can get for your property. So if you represent, if you're going to represent the owner, that should be a listing agreement, and you likely wouldn't be bringing a buyer in here. Maybe you are, but we'll get to that. You represent the prospect only, which is the most common use for this form for us at our firm. You're using this form because you have a buyer or a tenant that you're bringing in, or that you will act as an intermediary between owner and prospect. And again, to me, this would be on a listing agreement, and you would have you would have a buyer's agent assigned to it. You'd have a listing agent that's assigned within one brokerage. Our firm doesn't allow agents to represent, because I don't think it's possible to truly fairly represent two parties. The firm can, and we would assign two separate agents, but no one agent can represent two parties. It's just almost impossible to not show some bias, in my opinion, to have a, seller tells you their best price, and then you have a buyer and they tell you their best price, and then you're trying to make a deal work in the middle of it, but you're not truly serving their best interest, because if you were oblivious to either their wants and needs, you may push harder and truly represent one side better than the other. So if you're on anyways, that's a tangent, me broker talking there, but if you're on the sell side, listing side of something, you stay on that side, assign another agent to come in. You can keep all the commissions if you want, but maybe you give some smaller fee or something to have another agent assigned in your firm. So if a broker acts as intermediary, broker will assist both prospect and owner in the sale or lease of the property. Broker's fees will be paid by owner as provided in paragraph 6. Broker may appoint licensed associate I'm not going to go and read all this, but because this says what I was talking about here. If you have two sides for us at our firm, if we're on both sides of the deal, as the firm, I will assign two agents there. Or if one party wants to be unrepresented, I have a form for that, and I actually have another video you can watch a notice of non-intermediary. And that's where if you're on the list side, you have a buyer that says, hey, I'm not represented. They sign off acknowledging they're not represented, or the same thing. And like for this form, in this case, I'm coming in and I'm just representing a buyer. I don't have a listing agreement, nor am I going to be an intermediary. I am only bringing in the prospect. And so it's important that you understand how that works. So addenda here, section 8. So I'm not going to go over, you can read all these things, but that's what it has to do with intermediary and the complications it presents if you're trying to act as one party doing both sides. The addenda here, typically the only thing that we may have would be that what I just spoke of, the notice of non-intermediary. We're letting them know that we don't work for you for another side of the transaction here. And then of course we have other, I'm not going to go through all the legalese here. I'll let you read that at your leisure. And then we sign off on here. Now, one of the things I'll say about, in signing this, this is something typically we like to have. So here it says broker, and then it says signed by. And an agent can, I believe, sign here because it's not a required broker signature. At our firm, I do like to sign. Me as broker like to sign off because I like to know, one, what our agent's doing, but two, as a receivable, what we have coming in. So it is part of a compliance piece. So you may check, if you're an agent, check with your broker to see if they like to sign these or if you can sign on their behalf. And again, that's just, really going to depend on the firm that you're with and their processes. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, as always, you can email us. My name is Jason Huval. Again, I am the broker for Central Metro Realty. And thanks so much for watching.